Hey everybody, this is Cauliflower Man here. I'm bringing you another video on cryptocurrencies here. This video I'm talking about ZCash. Now ZCash is a very interesting cryptocurrency. I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time on it because it's new and there's only so much I can talk about on it. And there's also one thing I want to warn you guys about this video right away. There's a mistake I make twice in this PowerPoint where I say that a fork of Zcash called Zclassic is a good investing opportunity. I tried to download the wallet software and sync it up, and it looked like everything was working, but upon closer examination, it looks like the blockchain actually didn't load, and it's just using the Zcash blockchain, which would be, I think, incorrect. So it seems to be bugged, so I can't actually get ZClassic to work. So instead of like where it says ZClassic in the two PowerPoints, it should say ZenCash. That's another fork of ZClassic, or of Zcash actually, and it seems that ZenCash seems to be the fork of choice for Zcash. So I'll talk about I'll talk about that in this PowerPoint, but I wanted to bring that up right away. When I talk about how ZClassic is a good investment opportunity, it is not. But one thing that is a good investment opportunity, something that can make you a lot of money through investing or through just mining, however you want to get it, it doesn't really matter. I think this is just a good opportunity overall, is Zcash. Now Zcash is the first zero knowledge cryptocurrency. I'm not sure if that's completely true. It's the first two-way zero-knowledge cryptocurrency using ZK snarks. But I think Zerocoin, which was called Moneta in its beginning, was actually the first zero-knowledge cryptocurrency. It just used RSA one-way zero-knowledge rather than two-way ZK snark zero-knowledge, which is what Zcash uses. Zcash, I'm sorry. Zcash uses two-way ZK snarks. Zerocoin uses one-way RSA zero knowledge. So the fees on Zcash, because it's young, they're almost non-existent. So that's great. Like I said, this next point says it was released October 2016. That's great because you know it's going to last for a long time. You know that because miners are getting so much from the block reward, not only are there almost no fees, but that means there's a lot of supply available for sale on exchanges. So even though it's early and the price is high, there's a lot of pressure to keep the price low because miners, they have to sell their Zcash in order to pay for their miners. So they're going to be selling off a lot of their Zcash, and it's easy for you to get even if you're not a miner. The next point is that there's only 3 million coins in existence, and again, that just means it's easy for you to get. There's a huge slice of that pie that's available for you. If you look at something like Bitcoin, there's only 4.5 million coins left for users to get, or for people who haven't already gotten Bitcoin to get, or they have to buy it from old users. But that's only a small slice of the pie that's available for new users. For Zcash, 18 million out of 21 million are still available, haven't been mined yet, and those are going to get mined by the miners and then sold by the miners to the community, and they'll get distributed amongst the community. And so there's just a lot of coins that are available and that are readily being liquidated in Zcash, and that's a good thing if you're an investor. It's also really good for miners. Like Zcash, like I said, it has a high price right now. It's a young coin, the block rewards are high, so it's been incredibly profitable for miners, and that's great because that's offered it very high network security. For how young it is, it's got astonishingly high network security. So let's look at all these things individually for Zcash. The first one was that it's privacy. It's got zero knowledge. It's two-way zero knowledge. It's the first two-way zero knowledge cryptocurrency. It uses ZK snarks. That's the technology it uses. The ZK snarks is actually a new technology. It's the newest and most advanced technology or an algorithm as far as zero knowledge goes. So as long as everything works on it fine, it's the best of the best that exists. The one thing that is not so comforting to know about it is that there's only so many people. There's only a few dozen people in the world that really understand ZK snarks. But anyone who really is would consider themselves a master of cryptography or of even probably computer coding will have quite a solid understanding of RSAs, and they'll trust RSAs. Not as many people trust and understand ZK snarks, but ZK snarks do offer instant privacy with no data that exists to trace. Like I said before, the data, or maybe I actually didn't say that, but what I'm referring to is that ZK snarks, the two-way private or the two-way zero knowledge, that actually creates sort of a blockchain where you can't check the supply of the blockchain. So it's almost like there's two blockchains that exist. There's the public one and then this private one that exists, but there's no knowledge about it. So with Zcash, you can know the total amount that exists on the public blockchain. So you say there's 18 million on the public blockchain, then you assume there's 3 million on the private blockchain, but you never know for sure exactly how many are on the private blockchain because there's no data that exists to trace it, so you can't really tell. So that's where the issue, like if there's some sort of issue that where you can duplicate if you can duplicate things on the private blockchain, how do you know? And the answer, how do you know, is eventually if those coins make it back to the public blockchain, there will be too many on the public blockchain. But a smart criminal could keep them off the public blockchain, but you'd have to be very smart, and it's very hard to do. And bugs that cause duplications of coins are almost don't happen. They have happened before. It happened once to Bitcoin, but like I said, if it does happen to Zcash, it'll probably get found out very quickly unless the attacker did it purposefully and they're super smart. But it does have instant privacy through zero knowledge. The next thing about it is that Zcash has super low fees. If you do like 100 transactions in Zcash, you're paying like 5 cents in transaction fees. So if you're a new user to cryptocurrencies, you don't want to use Bitcoin. If you actually want to send transactions, you'd want to use something like Zcash because you can send Zcash as much as you want and you'll still have it. But if you send, if you put $100 into Bitcoin, and you send that around 100 times, you don't have any more Bitcoin. But yeah, if you have $100 of Zcash, you can send that around for a few years and you still won't have made enough transactions to have used it all up in transaction fees. But the other thing is that it's a young coin, so these low fees, they're going to last for quite a while. It's not something that's short-lived. If you're investing in Zcash, you can expect low fees for at least the next 6 years. They'll last beyond the first halving, which will happen in like 2 years, and then after that first halving, it'll be at least 4 years until the next halving. And I don't see Zcash having any fees until after the second halving. And even then, they'll probably still be pretty young, but they might start rising at that point. Anyways, the young coin also it's got the lowest fee of almost all the major cryptocurrencies, and that's because it's young. But it's like number 16 on market capitalization, so it's like the it's top 20 at least coins, I do believe, at this point in time. And there are no coins that have fees significantly lower. Like Zcash is basically zero. There might be one that does, instead of doing 1/2000th of a dollar, it might be 1/200100th of a dollar, but it's basically zero. You can't get better than Zcash in terms of fees. The next thing that I want to talk about is its release date. Again, this goes back to the mining, and the mining goes back to the fees, but it's easy mining, so it's good for mining and getting the network security up and keeping fees down. But the one thing you have to remember about the coin being good for mining, like people look at coins and they're like, the only way you can get the new coins is from mining them. Well, when new miners mine coins, they're going to sell like 80 to 90% of the coins they mine. So always remember that all the coins being mined in the block reward, like 80 to 90% of them go to the community as a whole. It's only like 10 to 20% go to the miners. So always just remember that. So the fact that the block rewards are high just means there's a lot more for sale, that all these miners have all these coins they're ready to sell in order to buy more miners so they can get more coins. But the Z Classic fork, this is here, or actually That almost caught me off guard there. This is the point where I talk about Z Classic, where I say it's in an interesting investing opportunity, and it is a very interesting investing opportunity. But the problem is I can't get the wallet to sync. It seems to just be very hard to use. But you might be able to figure it out, and if you can, it can be a good investing opportunity. What Z Classic is, it's one of two forks of Zcash, and Z Classic takes away the founder's reward completely. Generally speaking, that would kill a coin, but if they have a competent developer, all he has to do is basically copy what they do for Zcash, and that's all he's got to do. But right now, I have a lot of trouble getting things to work for myself on my computer for Z Classic, so I would instead stick to ZCash and use ZCash as the fork of choice for Zcash. And ZCash offers secure nodes, which is user-end encryption. Now, I don't know actually like how good this is or how useful it is, but it sounds useful, and there's a lot of other cryptocurrencies trying to do it right now. And ZCash also has a lower founders reward. It's 12%. Not all that actually goes to the founders. 3.5% goes to proof of stake secure node system that actually implements the user-end encryption. So I would use ZCash as the fork of choice if you're looking for an interesting investing opportunity. I think Z Classic is like $3 a coin. ZCash is like $10 or $8 or something. So if you're looking for low-cost coins, those would be it. But they're super high risk because they're simply forks of Zcash. So I don't know. Zcash I would put a bit of confidence in. ZCash and Z Classic, I don't think so. Z Classic might be a coin that's just going to die, and then ZCash, or not ZCash, but ZCash has a lot of good ideas, but I don't know if they're good enough to make it survive. It's a tough world out there for cryptocurrencies. But then the next thing I want to talk about is the fact that there's only 3 million coins that have been mined so far, so that's 15% of the coins that are going to come into existence as a whole. Basically, what you want to know about this is that the block reward hasn't halved, so like I said, that puts sell pressure on the market, so it's easy to get in. It's easy to get in if you're an investor. That puts a lot of sell pressure, so the price won't rise too quickly. And it's also really good for miners. And then the one thing that's really interesting about Zcash is it uses the Equihash algorithm. And the Equihash algorithm, it's different than the Bitcoin Hashcash algorithm. The Hashcash algorithm uses less memory than the Equihash algorithm that Zcash uses. So Zcash's mining algorithm uses more memory, and that makes it harder for people to use ASICs. And the reason why they do this is they don't want people to use ASICs and dominate the market, but two, if you use a different algorithm than Bitcoin, then your miners are not the Bitcoin miners. So if Zcash used the Hashcash algorithm of Bitcoin, the SHA-256 algorithm, there's multiple names for it, but if Zcash used that algorithm, then all the Bitcoin miners would dominate the Zcash mining. So Zcash miners wanted to have their own mining separate from Bitcoin, and that helps to make it more equitable because there's a lot more Zcash miners out there, and the Equihash algorithm makes it so that it's not centralized, so it's more equitable. But that also comes at the cost that Zcash isn't as secure as it could be. If it used the Bitcoin algorithm, then it could be as secure, or like it could have all the power of the Bitcoin network behind it. So there's trade-offs to it. So it's good in some ways, but it's bad in some ways. It's good that it's equitable. It's bad that the network security is not that great. But because the price of Zcash has risen so high so quickly, the network security is very high, like I talked about before. The question is will that last? In the long term, will Equihash be a good thing? It's good in the short term, it seems, but in the long term, will it be a good thing? Who knows? But then the final thing that I want to talk about for Zcash is that it's been highly profitable for miners. So again, if it has a high price during its creation, that's where block rewards are highest and the hash rate is lowest. So like in the beginning, Zcash was super profitable for miners, and so they all started mining it. And it's easy to enter the market as a miner, especially because they use the Equihash algorithm, so there's no ASICs. You can learn how to build a GPU rig yourself and start mining for it. Or I don't think there's ASICs right now. They might be in production. but I'm not sure. But for mining Zcash, like that's a great way to make money if you know what you're doing and you have an efficient setup, or at least it was a great way to make money for a time period a little bit before this video was made. I don't know about currently. I'm not a miner, so I can't tell you personally, and I can't say anything about the future, but it was very miner friendly in the beginning, so that was very good. And then if you're looking for something that has the same incentives that Zcash offers to miners, but a coin that offers those incentives towards investors, a good coin for that is, I have again Z Classic. I wish I would have put ZCash. ZCash, it's a Zcash fork that seems to be much better than Z Classic for me personally. Again, if you can get either of these blockchains downloaded for ZCash or Z Classic, they're both good. They have a lot of incentives to they have a lot of room for growth if they can take off. Now they're super risky. Z Classic and ZCash would be super risky investments, most likely not going to do anything at all. But if they do something, I just said do there, but if they do something, then Z Classic or ZCash, if they make a move, they're going to make a move big, and so you could make a lot of money. But again, that's super high risk, so I wouldn't advise anybody to buy Z Classic or ZCash, but I just wanted to throw that out there for educational purposes. Again, like I said, Z Classic, I can't even get the blockchain to sync on my own computer, so I'd say totally throw that idea in the trash unless you can get it to sync and work and you know everything's working perfectly. Then you can trust it, but I just don't know enough about it to throw my word behind Z Classic unless you can get it to work for yourself. But again, that's basically everything there is about Zcash. For a short summary of everything we went over, Zcash is a two-way zero-knowledge cryptocurrency. The privacy on Zero Cash, it's actually so good that some people think it's too good. If it is too good, the privacy won't cause it huge problems, but it could cause it some small problems, so that you know, some other zero-knowledge cryptocurrency like Zcoin could overtake Zcash. But there's still huge upside potential, even assuming the worst about the privacy for Zcash, but assuming the best about the privacy for Zcash, that it still will run completely bug-free, then, you know, I don't want to use the term to the moon, but the price could just completely skyrocket, because it offers, it's basically like Bitcoin but better in every way. It was released very recently, so again, like I said, that keeps fees very low. That keeps sort of a bit of a sell pressure on the markets that will keep the prices low for a while. At least until the first halving event, and then the sell pressure will be drastically reduced by miners. And the next thing, again, and this goes hand in hand with the release date, is that it was created very recently, so there's only 3 million coins in existence, so there's a lot up there for grabs, and that's basically what that's talking about. But then again, finally, since it's been highly profitable for miners, the network security is very high, and it's very trusted, and everything seems to be working very well. So that's just a great sign for Zcash. Again, Zcash is very new. It's got a high price for being very new, but it's still got a very low market cap for where it could go. It's like Bitcoin, except better in most every way. And so I really like this coin. I think it's very interesting, and I think you should pay attention to it. So hope you enjoyed the video.